I got a phone call from one of my kids earlier and she was like, Mom, did you see the text I sent you? And I was like, no. And she's like, have you read the news yet today? Did you see the thing about Pete Hegseth? And I was like, no, girl, I haven't. I've been busy filming a video about eugenics. She was like, go look at your text. So this is what she sent me. It's this picture from today of Pete Hegseth at the cabinet briefing press conference with Donald Trump. So first of all, he's not the Secretary of War. It is still the Secretary of Defense, despite the fact that these cargo cult fascists are desperate to position themselves as powerful warmongers. So big and powerful and brave and strong, but you had to throw one of your admirals under the bus for your illegal actions, didn't you there, Petey? But the thing people really zoned in on was not the Secretary of War. It was, why is Secretary spelled with 2 S's? Yep, it's absolutely real, and Hegseth is getting dragged on the internet for it. Of course, the question here is it an intentional misspelling? Is it a dog whistle? Or are they just so inept that they literally sat him down with a sign that says Secretary of Defense that has 2 S's? Like, did nobody check that? Now, we know that in a kakistocracy like the one under which we're living, that the incompetence is intentional. It's the incompetence and the maliciousness that work together. It's the straight up boobery and malfeasance that work together to dismantle the functionality of our government, to destroy democratic norms. It is peak weaponized incompetence so that you can't trust anybody to do their jobs. And also Donald Trump, right, picks loyalty over capability, and that compounds this situation significantly. So who knows? Who knows if this was intentional or this was just more straight up incompetence on full display, more of the embarrassing nature of this regime. Yeah, a lot of people were quick to clock the SS and say, is that a direct reference to the Schutzstaffel? Raw Story posited this question. The typo could be a reference to the Schutzstaffel, the Nazi paramilitary organization often styled as SS, which included the Waffen-SS and the Allgemeine SS, 2 groups known for committing some of the worst atrocities in World War II, having been tasked with enforcing Nazi Germany's racial policy. They like to wink at Nazis, wrote Rolling Stone contributor Lauren Windsor on a social media post about it. Is it real? Asked another, Peter Rothpletz, a columnist and contributor in the New York Times and The Guardian. This comes just after Donald Trump's Department of Labor posted an image that is an apparent Nazi dog whistle as well. I'm not going to post the image, but it was a picture of the Lincoln Memorial with 11 stars dotted around it. And at the bottom it said, Americanism will prevail. Setting aside for a moment the Confederacy, wink, wink, nod, nod, and the isolationist, nationalist sentiment of Americanism will prevail, the font that they chose was the Fractor font. That's the font of Nazi Germany. That's not an accident. There's a reason that Elon Musk loves that font, right? His dark MAGA or whatever hat is in that font. Patrick Skinner, a law student on Twitter, said, what a coincidence that they used 11 stars, just like the racist loser Confederacy, over President Lincoln's head. What a coincidence that they used Germanic font like the racist loser Third Reich. What a coincidence. The Germanic font is certainly a choice, deliberate. Gee, wonder why they went out of their way to do that. So it's understandable, given that context, that people were like, yeah, we don't think that choice to write secretary with 2 S's was unintentional. Pete Daydrunk Hegseth already has questionable tattoos. It's very, very clear what kind of ideology he's espousing. Even though he may be day drunk, he's pretty overt in trying to espouse it. Oh, and in case you're wondering how the interplay between Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump went at that press conference.
We've only just begun striking narco boats. Mr. President, we're rebuilding the military, historic investments. I just took briefings on the Golden Dome and F-47, next generation capabilities that are going to make sure that for generations to come, America has the most powerful, most capable, most lethal military in the world, which you have rebuilt once and we're rebuilding again. And then we're reestablishing deterrence and credibility. If you look at what happened, we deal with every day the outcome of what happened in Afghanistan, the debacle under Joe Biden. We just dealt with it in the streets of Washington, D.C., with those 2 National Guardsmen. And then what happened on October 7th with Hamas, what happened in Ukraine, and war that never started under President
cannot
Trump.
stay awake.
We're having to rebuild that. So whether it's freedom of navigation and taking the fight to the Houthis, whether it's Midnight Hammer, those beautiful B-2s going 37 hours back and forth, undetected, delivering with precision, and Iran not getting nuclear capabilities, Europe and NATO stepping up to 5%, locking down our southwest border. It's been an honor to work with Christy and Tom and everyone else down there to lock it to zero, operational control of our border. And then it's getting after and going after narco terrorists and designated terrorist organizations in our own hemisphere. As I've said, and I'll say again, we've only just begun striking narco boats.
Yeah, Donnie Sundowning pretty hard there. He couldn't stay awake during that conference. But also, did you notice how WikiLeaks has this kind of like fetishization of military language, military operations and equipment? It's really some kind of cope or some kind of kink for him. It's real weird. It's real weird how he talks about it. Also, did you hear what he said there at the very end?
And then it's getting after and going after narco terrorists and designated terrorist organizations in our own hemisphere. As I've said, and I'll say again, we've only just begun striking narco boats.
Remember, they just threw an admiral under the bus for previous strikes, which have been labeled as war crimes, a violation of international law, and a violation of U.S. law. In the post-Trump era, there's some folks, Pete Hegseth, that are going to go to prison for this. Still haven't turned up any drugs, even though they are choosing to kill injured people that they already injured. Again, violations of international law. Whatever, we can get into that subject at length. I know a lot of other folks have, folks with far more legal and military experience than me. But you don't have to be a rocket brain surgeon to understand that what they're doing, bombing these fishing boats, these small vessels, is entirely illegal. It's, again, an attempt to manufacture a crisis to escalate their authoritarian agenda and take away more of our rights. They also think that it makes them look like they have a big peen to the rest of the world. But really, they just look incredibly fragile and they're embarrassing our entire country, killing innocent people to make America even more of an embarrassment. And that's the thing, right? Like, I know I keep saying it. We have the cringiest would-be dictator. We have the cringiest regime. We have a day-drunk Fox News host cosplaying, fantasizing about being an SS officer, telling the military we can't have fatties and uglies and they have to shave their mustaches, while he does a chin up and says like, can you match me, bro? This is who's running the United States Department of Defense, and they have again cringily tried to rename it the Department of War, thinking that makes them look and sound masculine. These guys don't know what masculinity is. We have the most embarrassing regime. It's so, it's bad enough that we're struggling to free ourselves of a fascist regime. It's bad enough that what we have is super brittle, embarrassing cargo cult fascism. In the end, I think that will be a benefit to us that they are so embarrassing. They don't understand how to do a dictatorship. They don't actually have real power. They're just posturing and play acting. This is the reality show TV version of fascism. And I think this sign with this SS Secretary of War, they're doing terrible things. They're doing cruel, illegal things. They're killing people. They're destroying families. But at the same time, Petey, you're not some Allgemeine SS officer. You're Pete WikiLeaks Hegseth, Fox News host, flirting at being the head of the Department of War for Donald Trump's Third Reich.